and welcome to Travel To Wellbeing TV. I want to wish you all a belated happy Thanksgiving. And today is Good Friday, late in the evening here in Florida. And I want to go ahead and talk about the United States since we recently celebrated an American holiday. So here are 10 things you should know about visiting the United States of America. The first one is the language barrier, if there is one for you. English is king. English is spoken everywhere in the United States. But if you are fluent in Spanish and you don't really know English, there are places in the United States where you can get around only speaking Spanish. Those places would be the ones near Mexico, New York City, and Florida, especially South Florida. Number two is that you want to make sure that you have health and insurance for travel, especially for catastrophic situations, because if you have to go to the hospital, it is very expensive to get treatment without insurance. So you just want to make sure that you're safe and sound when you're here. You just don't want to take any chances. And number three, make sure that you have your ID with you if you go anywhere to drink, smoke, or drive. And driving, of course, with a driver's license. But any sort of ID for smoking or drinking, they're very strict about age enforcement when going out to buy these products. It's 21 to drink practically everywhere in the States except Puerto Rico, which is a territory of the US. And in some jurisdictions, you have to be 21 to smoke. Other ones, it's 18 or 19 or 20. I'm not quite sure about that, but I'll put up a map on the screen here. And number four, public transportation sucks in most parts of the states, meaning that you really can't get around the entire country just by public transportation like trains or buses. It's just too big and the infrastructure is just not there. You can use public transportation easily in Miami, New York, Boston, the really big cities. It's totally okay. But in general, if you decide to rent a car, the fuel here is very cheap. I'll go ahead and put an average gas price in the US and compare it to the average in the European Union. Should take a look at that just for a little reference. And also number five, kind of related to number four, is just don't hop between big cities in one small trip. Just don't think that you can travel the United States like you do between European countries like little Ryanair and stuff. Because the reality is you really cannot just spend 2 weeks in the US and go see Los Angeles and New York and Miami. It really shouldn't work like that. The flight time from Miami to Los Angeles, mind you, is roughly 5 hours. It's a very big trip, and there's jet lag too. So plan your trips wisely, and in general, try to stick to one region during a 1 to 2 week trip. If you're here for a month, you should consider doing a road trip. It's quite fun, especially if you know how to drive. And number six is avoid bad food. What I mean by bad food is not that every food here is just poisonous and bad, but in general, if you go grocery shopping, you're going to want to do the organic food. The organic food will always be your best friend if you can buy that. And also, when you eat here, don't always eat like McDonald's or Burger King. Try to find barbecue and some local restaurants. Those actually tend to be pretty good. It just depends. Not all American food is bad for you, or at least tastes bad, whatever the stereotype is. And number seven is plan your visit according to regions in accordance with the weather. I'm not sure if I phrased that right, but basically, for example, if you're going to visit Florida, don't come to Florida during August or September because that's hurricane season. It's very hot and it's prone for hurricanes, which are very violent storms that can hit the state and cause a lot of power outages, travel delays, and just a whole bunch of chaos. So just make sure that whenever you visit certain regions in the United States, look up when's the best time of the year to visit weather-wise, and try to follow that through orthodoxy. Okay, so we're on to number 8, which is do your clothes and electronics shopping here. Just know that in certain states there are no sales taxes, but even if there are, they're probably a lot lower than in other countries. There's no value-added tax here. So yeah, feel free to buy clothes and electronics here. I know a lot of foreigners who do this and then just bring the stuff back to their countries. It's quite cool if you ask me. It's good for our economy. Number 9 is, do your research on what safe areas are. The United States, like a lot of other countries, has safe cities, has safe districts, and has bad cities and bad parts. In general, Manhattan is super safe. Downtown Miami's pretty safe. But yeah, just do your research and don't go into unlit areas at night. Just be smart, be safe. And number 10 is when interacting with Americans, don't talk about politics or religion when you first meet someone. And in the South, it's also kind of taboo to cuss out loud in public because the South is more religious, generally speaking. Now, you can probably say these things once you get to know the American person really well, like if you're close friends. But yeah, in general, just have some common sense and don't talk about really sensitive subjects like that when you first meet someone because I promise you they'll probably be annoyed. Anyway, so that wraps up the 10 things you should know about visiting the United States. I hope if you come here, you'll have a great time and you're always welcome.